So officially a new academy manager through the door. It's someone that Burnley fans will already recognise the name of. But in terms of Chris Casper himself and him getting that job, what was it that stood out that made him above the rest of the candidates?
Yeah, it's a good day for us at the football club. You know, we've managed to go through an extensive recruitment process, and Chris was an outstanding candidate for us at Burnley Football Club. You know, Chris's got many years of experience at youth level and spent well over 10 years, I believe, at the Premier League as a club support manager. And one of the qualities of being a club support manager is that you get to experience other football clubs independently. So we're not tied to one club, got around a few clubs. So you got to experience what's good and what's good practice. And that's really, you know, I think for us it was really important that he knows what good looks like. Success at Salford, develop their football club really in terms of the football operations from a part-time football club to full-time in the Football League status. And Chris was pivotal in developing young players and developing their football strategy. So coupled with his roots at Burnley Football Club, and I think the other thing that we all need to be aware of is Chris is a parent. He's a parent of one of our young players. And I think for us that was really important to have them discussions as to how parents see our football club and our academy. And I think he's a nice sounding block for us to lean on in terms of that. So where improvements need to be made from a parental perspective, you know, Chris is internal now. So there was a number of things really that ultimately got Chris in the position that he's in.
You've alluded to it there about the fact that his dad was a player and a manager here. We've seen a photograph of him as a young lad with the trophy from many moons ago here as well, and the fact that Charlie's here. Does that give him, or does that give you, I suppose, a head start in terms of the education of him coming in and him knowing what is here already? Yeah,
I think that's probably important for him more than us. You know, he knows what the system is and he knows our process is, and so I think that's a really good foundation for Chris, that he comes into a building and an operation that's got some really good processes in place, and so he's almost got a head start really on some of the other candidates.
So with that in mind, because you essentially put a lot of these foundations down here when you walked through the door at Burnley Football Club. So in terms of Chris now coming in, will he be able to make changes? Will you want him to make changes in terms of putting his stamp on it as well, or does he continue the good work that's already been done? How will that work?
I think we'll marry both situations really. He'll hopefully continue the good work and the good practice that we currently have in place here at the academy, but also, you know, we don't want to be stagnant in what we do either. And if there's fresh ideas that Chris is going to bring, which we hope he is, that he can implement, he absolutely has the authority, you know, to do that and to work alongside us to become better than what we are.
Just before I finish on, I suppose, aims for the academy and in terms of what I know you already want to achieve and get in there. You and I have had this chat before in the past here. Chris has mentioned it now as well in terms of aiming for Category 1 status. So for those who might not understand exactly what that is and what it means to this football club to get that, can you explain that?
Yeah, so the academy system as a whole is based on the categorisation. So each club will have a label essentially put above its door, and that goes from Category 4 up to Category 1. And the Category 1 is your top status. And in terms of where we are, we're currently a Category 2 academy with a real focus and intent to have a Category 1 academy. We believe at our football club that anybody who walks through the door at the training ground will know that we have Category 1 facilities already. We have a Category 1 staffing structure in place, and our processes, we believe, are a Category 1 status. But the next stage for us is to be audited at that level. And what that will allow us to do is to allow our players to experience a more challenging games programme, because you're coming up against the elite, the top clubs in the country. So in terms of challenging our players. We will challenge them in a better games program, and the knock-on effect of that is that it helps with your recruitment. And what we want to do is we want to be able to recruit not only the best players locally and regionally, but nationally as well, and internationally ultimately, and that'll hopefully give our players what they need to be challenged to benchmark themselves at the elite level.
So just finally, then you're giving us an idea there, but what do you want to achieve with this academy? What can this academy achieve? What's the big goal for this club?
The big goal and the biggest goal probably for any academy is to produce players that play in your first team. And you know that's ultimately our challenge, and that is, you know, maybe quite a brutal statement, but the investment that is made through our owners at the academy for the academy means that we want to get a return on that investment, and a return on that investment is players walking out at Turf Moor that have had involvement and development within the academy structure at Burnley Football Club.